Hi, welcome. My name is Louise Noel, and I'm going to be showing you today how to build a re-engagement campaign in Maileon. We're gonna go over like three things, which is how to filter the contact field. How to filter your email lists so that you get all those inactive users in one place. Then I'm going to show you how to create the email in our email editor, and then I'm going to show you the automation flow and how to create that from scratch. So what are we building today? We're building a re-engagement campaign. So for those who don't know, that's literally where we're going to email all of our or a specific list of our users who haven't opened any of our mails in the last year. So they're pretty inactive, and we want to give them a last chance to interact with this campaign, or else they'll be removed because they're only hurting our open rates, and clearly they don't want to receive our emails, so we're not going to spam them endlessly. So the idea is that we're going to create two emails, give them two chances to open our mails, if after that they haven't interacted at all, then they'll automatically be removed from our email lists. So before we get started, just know that you can skip through to the relevant section in this video. So if you know how to create a contact field and you already have your emails ready, please skip those and just go straight to the automation flow builder. But if this is your first interaction with Maileon, or if you really want a refresher, then stick around. So let's get started. To start, as you can see, I'm in our UI2 environment, meaning it looks a little different than what you might be used to. Normally Maileon looks like this, but today we're going to work in the UI2 interface because it's quite new, and I want everybody to get familiar with this environment instead of our, well, I guess now it's an old environment. So let's start by building our email lists. So we're going to audiences and we're going to contact filters. So we're going to start by creating a list. So add contact filter, and we're going to give it a name. So I've given it the name users who haven't opened in the last year, but that's up to you. You can name it re-engagement campaign. It doesn't really matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to filter our newsletter list, and we're going to add three rules. First, we're going to filter out everybody who's actually been sent an email in the last year. Then we're going to filter out all the people who've actually not opened that email in the last year. And then lastly, we're going to make sure that nobody who's been added in this year ends up on this list. So that's the breakdown. So first you add a rule. Like I said, we're going to add a list. So create intersection, list membership, target group, and then equals. And here you pick out your list. So for us, it's our newsletter list. Got a few. Save. Then we're going to add another rule, and now we're going to create another intersection, and we're going to go for response information. So here we're going to add everybody who's been sent is greater than or equal to one email, and then in the time period a year. So relative date is on or before, and then 1 year. Okay. Then the second rule is we're going to create another intersection, response information again, and has opened. Okay, so this is where we're actually targeting people who have not opened a single mail. Oh, date period, relative date is on or before, and then 1 year. As you can see, you can really like narrow down these lists. Save. Then the last rule is like we want to make sure that no one that's been created recently in this year ends up in this list. So creation date, and then it was before or more than 1 year ago. 1 year. Yeah. Save. Okay, so that makes sure that nobody who's actually been added to this list, like in say last 30 days, ends up in this list, because then, you know, they might not have, they might have been sent an email, one, and they didn't open that one email. We don't want to remove those people. Okay, so now we hit save. And it's going to scan the list for us, and there's going to be a number that comes out. I will blur out some numbers here for privacy reasons, but as you can see, just 9 contacts are part of this list. So that's it. Now that we've created our list, we're going to move on to creating and preparing the emails. So I'll see you there. Right, welcome back. So now we're going to create a newsletter. So we're going to actually create a trigger mail, because they're going to end up in the automation flow. So add a trigger. And we're going to start very simply by giving it a name, re-engagement campaign. And then I like to give it a date. You have to pick a language here. So we're going to pick Dutch as our base language. But like I said, we're making a dual language campaign. Subject, I do have my email already, so I'm just gonna show you real quick. So I've got my email content already typed out. So I'm gonna just be copying over the contacts so that you don't wonder how is she doing this so quick. It's already ready. So subject line, a little something to make your email life easier, and the preview text. Not just another product update, promised. So they'll receive this from our normal newsletter alias, so that they know who this is and not like a new user. And then for tracking options, we're going to do, yeah, this one's good. We're going to add analytics. We have Google Analytics, so we're going to add that. Campaign name. User defined. Engagements. 2025. I should probably spell it correctly. And that's it. So yeah, you don't have to actually put any of this in. That's extra. Okay, so then we do next. And now we're in the actual template, so we're going to add our template. Right, so we have a saved template, so we're going to use that. This is our start template. Select implement. Right, so this is our Maileon template. As you can see, we've already got headers and different links according to language. And we've set that up in advance because we always email in English and in Dutch, so it makes it very easy. This is, it doesn't look very colorful for the moment, but just to show you, if you go into test, you'll see the banner does have color. It actually color adjusts. So every time you receive an email, you get a different color from our branding, which is quite fun. But yeah, so this is editable. We're going to add a title later, but first let's work on the main text. So we're going to add a little personalization here. So hi, and then contact fields, and then we're going to click first name. Use a default value. So we're going to start with the English version. So I'm going to say dear reader. And then insert placeholder. So basically it's going to say hi and then their name, like Bob. And if it doesn't have their name, they'll see reader. And then you have the comma after. So not in, but after. Okay, so I have now put in the content. I am not going to walk through all the little steps in between, but like as you can see, I like drag and dropped a lot of things. But now that we have the content in English first, we're going to check to see if we're happy with the design of it. Yeah, so for example, here I'm noticing like this title is way too small. I'm going to bring back the old title. And I'm going to bold this so that it pops out. Okay. Right, so off camera I fixed this and I bolded that. So as you can see now it's fixed and it looks like how I want it to look. Right, so the fun part now, I mean, so for the links, I have here currently that says learn more. To add a link to this, you just need to get the link and paste it in here. Web browser link. Like this, save, and then you do that with all of them. Right, so now that I've added all the links, we're going to do the Dutch mail. I haven't added a title yet. Right, so I've added a title now, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a rule to these. So first I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to add a rule to this block by going to settings and then visual condition. You add visual condition. We're going to name this one English. And we're going to pick a context field, account locale, and then equals any, and then we're going to do English, save. So what that's going to do is it's only going to show up for people who have English as their language setup. So same thing can be done here. Now we have the Dutch version, and we're going to add a visual condition, Dutch, contact field, account locale is actually this one, and equals to Dutch, save. So now depending on whether you have an English account or a Dutch account, you'll have different visuals. So I'm just gonna quickly add that to all of these blocks. So for example, for this one, for personalization, we're going to add also lezer, which is reader in Dutch. Right, so I've added all of the conditions, and now we're going to double check if I've correctly added them. So here we have some dummy contacts. This one's in English, so header, it's email, yes. Quick catch up, yes. All of this is indeed in English. Great. Right, so now I clicked on contact. So here you can actually pick your target group. I've just picked one of our co-workers, Thijs, who has his account already set in Dutch. So let's check again. Yep, this is in Dutch, that's in Dutch, it's all in Dutch, these as well, and this one as well. Okay, great, it's all in Dutch, so it works. So like you can tell, if you want to switch, you can just switch like this as well. Doesn't permanently change anything. And then you see how it is displayed. Great. The name also works. We can also double check if there's no name, what it does. So here it says reader, that's correct, and then the Dutch version says lezer. That's perfect. Of course you can change this. We don't do that. We say hi in both English and Dutch, so that's just a little branding there. But yeah, so that's your email. Right, so something I forgot to show you in BASIC is how to make sure that the subject line is also in 2 languages. So for that, I've actually got a piece of code here. And so we're just going to stick that into here. And we're going to do the same for the preview text. This is going to be the preview text in English, and this one in Dutch. So what you do is you just copy this piece of code, and I'm going to fill in this over here. And that one over here. Just make sure you remove that space. There you go. So these you can remove, and I'm just gonna copy this one over and just stick it in here. And that's it. So now the email is ready. A good rule of thumb is in the contact section, you can edit your content, and then in this bit here, you can send yourself a test mail. So it will automatically send it to me. Right, so I've opened the Outlook email. It's in English for me because John, the English account, was an English account. So this is what it looks like. It always says test in front, but the subtitle is in English, so it worked perfectly, and it looks good. This is also a moment where you can make sure that the links are actually in English. Now we're done with the email. I will make a second email, but I'll do that off screen, so you don't have to watch me do that. Right, so we're happy with the first mail and the content of it. So we're going to the next step, which is to do an optional check. I always like to do an image check and a link check. Either way, we don't really let you move on from this check until you've at least done one. If there's a little dollar sign in front of it, that means it's cost extra. So yes, please do that at your own risk. Right, so now we're actually going to set up the trigger. So we're going to do an automation trigger. And that's it. Then we have the summary over here. So it'll be available in the animation, and this will be the name of it. You see the subject works preview as well. I'd sent myself a few test emails to make sure it worked, and I was very happy with that. So yes, activate trigger. And that's it. Now I will do mail 2, and they'll both end up here in the active folder of trigger emails, which will be important in the automation section. Before moving on to the automation part, I just wanted to show you the second mail. So here it's in Dutch. Let me just switch it to English so everyone can see it. Right, so this is the English one. So I'd already checked to see if everyone was happy with the layout, which I was. I'm just going to show you how to do these two buttons. But this is what it looks like. Again, it's been divided, like the first mail with the English and the Dutch part. So the button is a little, well, this one is actually really easy. Well, it looks tricky, but it is easy. So it's a standard link, and I selected a contact value or context field. And we have a specific context field called newsletter. It's in Dutch, sorry, but this one means newsletter. And so everybody who signs up to the newsletter gets a yes value, and they automatically get added to the list. We have these saved pages already, so I've got a standard one for confirmation and for error. But that's the pages module, which I'm not going to go over in this tutorial. So if you want to know more about the pages module, you have to leave a comment. So that's how I make sure that they are added to the list. And then I have also an unsubscribe button, and this is actually the easiest button ever because it's a standard link and we have a literal unsubscribe section. So if they click this button, they'll automatically unsubscribe. And we want to give people that option because sometimes they open the mail and then they find out they actually just want to unsubscribe. So we want to give them that option. So yeah, that's mail 2. So before we move on to the automation flow, we're going to create a contact field to make sure that people don't end up in the list 100 times over. So we're going to go to audience, and we're going to go to profile data which is also the contact fields. So we're going to add a contact field, and we're going to. So we start by giving the contact field a name. So I'm going to call it re-engagement check. And we're going to make it a Boolean, like true and false logic. So we're going to save that. And we're actually going back to our contact filter. And we're going to add a rule at the end here. And we're going to add, we're going to remove contacts. We've got a contact field value with our re-engagement check, and it equals to true. And this will make more sense in the automation flow, but this will help the contacts not continuously go back into the flow, especially if they're already running in it. So yeah, we save that. We save the list. It won't change the results now because we don't have the campaign running yet. Okay. So let's start building our automation campaign. I'm going to create a new automation, and we're going to name it engagement flow 2025. And then we're going to start from scratch. Right, so here we want to select context filter assignment. Right, so now we're in the marketing automation editor. This is what we did at the start. We picked context filter assignment. So now we're going to pick the context filter that we created for this. So if you remember, at the beginning of the video, we call it users who haven't opened in the last year. If you are confused about how to do this, please go back to the beginning of the video where I explain everything. And then we're going to execute this flow once a month. And we're going to pick the day of the month. Let's do the 5th. It doesn't really matter. I could do the 1st, but we're just going to do the 5th. And we're going to be sending this mail on the 5th at 5:30 in the morning. Of course, you can test this and be more specific. That's up to you. Right, so before we even send the first mail, what we're going to do is we're going to add a update contact fields module. So why we're going to do that is we're actually going to prevent people who are already in this flow to end up in it again. Of course, the way that I've set it up now, I do it only once a month. So, and I'm sending 2 mails with a week apart from each other. So they only technically stay in there for 2 weeks. And since a month is 4 weeks and something, most likely they won't end up in here, but it's better to be safe than sorry, I think. So we created context field. If you don't remember how to do that, please go back in the video. I've got it listed under in the description where that is. So I called it re-engagement check, and we're changing the value to true. So while they're in the flow, the value will be true. Like this, they won't end up in the flow twice. Now we're adding the email that we've created. So we've created the trigger mail. It's already live. And we're going to pick the first one. That's pretty straightforward. Now we're going to check if, we're going to wait until they've opened the email. So this is a wait until event response. And we're going to pick our email again, the first one, so the campaign. And we're going to see if they've opened it. Oh. And then we're going to wait for 1 week. It doesn't really matter to me if it's the weekends or not. Then here, the response is if they have opened it, then I want them to end the flow. So the flow is end the flow. However, if they haven't opened, they need to go to mail 2. All right, so we apply that. And we're going to hit save because we don't want to lose our progress. Right, so then we go to mail 2 and we're going to mail 2. They haven't opened the mail. I want them to receive mail 2. So here we select our second mail. Apply. And then we're going to do another check. So wait until response event. I'm going to check again if they have opened this mail. So this time we select the second mail and we're going to check if they've opened it. And we're going to wait again a week. Now, if they have responded, I want to end the flow again. And if they haven't responded, then I will delete the contact. Okay, so to make it a little bit more visual, I'm just going to add these 2 over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now add the delete the contact movement. This here, delete contact. If they haven't done anything, I want them to delete the contact. So that's it. Not much more to it. Close. If they've left the flow, before they leave the flow, I want to make sure that this contact field is back to false so that they can end up in the flow again. So we're going to add over here, update contact fields. I'm going to go for the re-engagement check. And we're going to turn that to false. Apply. And we're going to do the same over here. So update contact field. And do re-engagement. And we're going to apply false. All right, so they can end up in the flow again if they haven't responded in a. So that's it. Now the flow is set up. Just to summarize what it will do, it will take everybody that we've put in the contact filter at the beginning. So the contact filter is users who haven't opened in the last mail. This contact filter also takes everybody from our newsletter list, checks if they have been sent emails in the last year, and in those emails and in the last year if they've opened any of those emails. So if they haven't, they stay in this list. And then we also checked that that they're not new contacts that we added before this year period. And then lastly, what we did was we added a contact field, this one, the re-engagement check, and it removed everybody that had true. So what that means for us, I mean, because I'm doing this only once a month, I actually don't need to do this step. I could skip this. But because I want to show you guys what you can do if you want to regularly clean up your lists and send out re-engagement mails, then this is a good module to put in, or node, I guess, to make sure that people don't end up constantly in this filter and end up getting the first mail like 5 times before they exit the flow. Then what we do is we send them the first mail, our first trigger mail. We wait a week to check if they've opened it. If they've opened it, they just end up going back into the mailing list. Nothing happens to them. We did update the contact field to false so that they could, in a year time, if they still haven't opened anything or clicked on anything, they can end up back in the flow in a year. So that's why we've put this field in there. If they haven't opened this mail though, we send them another mail, mail number 2. And again, we wait a week to check if they've opened it. Oh, see, this is why we double check these things. Apparently I hadn't clicked save. Response event open, wait condition during, and then 1 week. Whoop. So again, response. If they respond, we just end the flow. Delete contact. If they don't respond, we just delete the contact. Save. Again, so if they've responded, then they just go back into our list and they stay an active user, and we just update their contact field to false so that they can end up in this flow again a year later if necessary. If they haven't responded, however, after 2 nice mails, then we just delete the contact. And that's it. Right, so then we activate the flow. We start immediately. And that's it. Now it's active and ready to go. So in a month's time, so in a week or so, this filter will start running and we'll have a flow running. So I hope you enjoyed following along, and I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you implement this flow on your own accounts. Just let me know if there's questions below. We have a great support team also if you ever run into issues. So yes, thank you. Bye.